Welcome to Souls on Tap. I'm Julianne Thon.
And I'm Jennifer Cross.
Today, we'd like to welcome Bryon Duszczak, who had a profound near-death experience that changed his life forever back in July of 2018. And he is here today to share that incredible story. Welcome,
Hey, everybody.
Bryon.
Hello.
Hi, Bryon.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks again for coming. We are excited. We love near-death experiences. And our viewers really love them as well, but they tell us so much. So before we get into your near-death experience, I'd like to ask you, what was your life like before you actually had that experience? If you were to compare them, what would you say that your life was like prior?
I mean, overall, pretty average. Growing up in the burbs of Chicago in the 80s. Nothing super spectacular up until, I guess, my dad remarried, and you know, it had been just him and I. He actually pretty much raised me since I was in diapers. But surpassing that, when he got remarried, he he married a very spiritual woman. In fact, how we met was I was playing soccer. I was into soccer, and my dad was actually the coach of the team, and we were practicing outside. Her daughter came outside and just started playing with us. Eventually, I met this woman who I just thought was the sweetest thing. I just had never experienced that. My dad was very militant, and she was just so kind and considerate, caring, and good-natured. Um, I don't know what really prompted me to do it, but I remember I searched the whole entire garden area of the apartments that we lived in, and I found this dandelion that had maybe a 2-foot stem on it. And to me, it's a flower. I'm just a 7-year-old kid. I don't know any better, but I picked it. And she was the first person I thought of. And I just wanted to give it to her because she was so nice and had like fed me and just been a good person overall in the neighborhood, nice lady. And she lived on a garden apartment. She opened the window and I had knocked on it, and I just, from behind my back, I handed her this dandelion, and she started crying. And I didn't understand. I thought I did something wrong.
Sure, because you're 7, right?
Yeah. And I didn't have that much contact with females other than in school. And
Yeah.
she's an older woman that I highly respected. And she started crying, and I ran away
Oh,
because I thought I messed something up. I went to my house, and she ended up knocking on our door and met my dad. And 4 months later, they were engaged. And a year and a half later, they got married. And it was kind of interesting looking back how that all went down, because in a way I chose her.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And she was a meditator, yoga practitioner. If you've ever heard of wakeful dreaming, she was actually actively going to those sessions. She was into psychology, parapsychology, powers of the mind, and just opened me up to a lot of new concepts that I had no idea of. I was reading like Whitley Strieber's book, if you've heard of. He's got a series about being abducted by aliens, and I thought aliens were highly interesting. And my dad was always, it's all malarkey, it's all woo woo, just put it all away. But something was wakening up, and it was like, oh, like actively trying to see auras with my friends growing up. Trying to see, like, if I stare at you for 5 minutes and you're in front of a white wall, what colors do you see? But I was curious in those things. I wanted to know more about all of it. And that's basically what formed me into my teenage years. I became an omnist.
So would you say that those were really formative years? You're being little like that and already on the path to spirituality?
Absolutely. I rejected some of it back then. Meditating, I was too hyper to meditate. Yoga, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
You kind of make fun of it. My dad's influence,
Sure.
he kind of ripped on her a little bit for some of that, but she still kept pushing it, and not in a bad way. It was what I was open to. If I asked questions about it, she would show me. She's since passed, unfortunately, a few years back, but I have acquired her entire bookshelf of all the books that she's reading.
Good.
Or that
she read.
Well, some she was reading too. She had this thing where she would put notes and sticky notes and leave them in there. And what's kind of crazy is I think she knew that I was going to read these books behind her. So
She left them for you.
there's actual notes in there that says, for Bryon, when you read this.
Aw.
Wow.
Wow, great. So let's get into the near-death experience itself.
Let's go.
Tell us a little bit about, give us the whole story. What happened?
Well, I wasn't taking care of myself in my 30s. I had gained a lot of weight. I wrestled at 160 and then blew up. Once the scale got to 240 something, I stopped looking, and I got up to from a 32 to really pushing a 36 into a 38. My buddies would smack me on the stomach and ask how far do I am and whatnot. So I quickly started trying to lose weight, but I didn't really change my eating habits. And man, I got down to like 230 something, I think I was. And I was eating a pizza, drinking a Sierra Mist, and sitting there on the couch watching TV with the wife, and just a little, oof, oof, right there in the bottom right. I think that's your pancreas. WebMD said it was indigestion, so I had some Pepto, and that didn't help. And shortness of breath, kind of that starry-eyed feeling like you're about to pass out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, this isn't good. Like, the shortness of breath is getting worse. I think I need to go to the hospital. She's like, go to the bathroom. You'll be fine. I said, no, we need to go to the hospital. We were already fighting at the time. So I had her rush me to the hospital nearby in Illinois. And again, we were fighting. So as I got out of the car, she drove away. And have you ever had tunnel vision? It's a very panicky feeling when you know you're about to pass out.
I most certainly have.
Yeah,
Most
but
certainly have.
I knew I had to make it through those doors. That was about 30 steps. And talk about, walking the longest mile, because those last 10 steps, like when that door finally opened and all I can see is just a circle in front of me and the ringing in the ears and the panic's ensuing, like, I think I'm dying. I look to my left and they want you to fill out paperwork, and I just laughed like, I can't even grab my wallet right now. Like, what? No. And by the grace of God, something just kind of told me to look over down the hall. And luckily there was an orderly, and he was wearing the blue smock, and he's pushing a gurney. And my brain is like, that's what you need right now. And I took the 3 steps, and I was trying to say help, or something. I don't even know what I was trying to say. It was in the realm of help me, but that's not what came out of my mouth. I could hear myself saying like some weird garbled, I don't know what. But that moment is when everything changed, because I watched my hand, my arm, and then the back of my head fall to the floor. And in that moment, I heard a very strange tearing, ripping. I compare it to really separating 2 pieces of Velcro very slowly. And in that very moment, mind you, I've experimented spiritually before and have protected, grounded, but also I've experienced astral before a few times. This was different. If anybody knows anything about astral projection that's done it, there's usually a cord from this area to your body connecting you. And that was the first thing I checked for. I was aware that I was astral, but it was more. I look down and there is no cord, and I'm looking at my body, and people are trying to help me and get me on the gurney, and I can hear.
So are you at this point standing next to your body?
I wouldn't say standing, floating for sure, because I don't have any feet.
Okay, but you're looking down at your body, so you've separated now.
Where I would focus my attention is what I could see. But as far as looking, there's nothing to physically, but I know that I'm there. And as I thought it, my attention went to there. And technically you could say, yes, I could, but I was aware. It's not that I'm seeing it because I have no eyes. I was just aware of everything. Like, and it was like a quick, 5-second experiment that I did, I guess, like, because these are new abilities. When you're astral, you seem limited by humanistic abilities outside of going through walls and objects. But when you're in this form, it was like if I remember looking at the handles of where you push the gurney, and I could feel the cold metal density of what metal steel feels like. I would look at the clothes one of the people were, I could feel like the pores in the material and like what it was made of. It's kind of hard to explain, but you lose all of your physical inhibitions as far as touch, taste, smell, hear. You're just awareness, like you're in there, you're light, but yet you can hear in a way, but you're feeling the vibration of everything, interpreting it into your soul. Because again, you don't have ears. I don't notice if I smelled anything, but you could almost kind of taste like when you have you ever like like for example, this is a thermos that I use. If you were to lick it, you could taste that weird metallic thing, but it's almost
Yeah.
comes up into your nose where you can sense what that metal would taste like. Almost like licking a battery. If you ever licked a 9-volt when you're
Yeah.
a kid,
Yeah.
but you're not tasting that, you're feeling that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I panicked. If you could have an adrenaline rush in the spirit world, I was fully in one. Like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm dead. I need to get back in my body. And immediately I said to myself, I didn't finish my mission.
Mm.
And I'm like, wait a minute. How do I know I have? Wait a minute. Who's talking right now? Wait a minute. This is the old me. Wait a minute. I know where I am. I've been here before. I'm like, wait a minute. Bryan's just a little piece of my entire timeline, but I chose to be Bryon. Like, how do I know that? Wait a minute. What's my mission? What's my mission? And I couldn't get over it. I'm like, panic. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. And again, if you could have an adrenaline rush, my energy was in pulsating mode and it was not good. But yet, in that moment, I felt a strange surrender or release. It took over. It was like a blanket or a cocoon. I can't explain it, but I felt love. And like, if maybe you've ever been in a panic mode where you're shaking and you're like, oh my God. And just somebody just came up and said, hey, hang on, I got you.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. Wow.
But it was more than that.
That's
I felt
profound.
if I could give you a description, it was things that I was lacking in my life, and it was like the opposite of that. I honestly compare it to you're laying in your grandma's bosom while she's reading you your favorite bedtime story. You're petting a puppy. You're eating a warm chocolate chip cookie by a campfire or a fireplace. I mean, so serene, so calm, so protected, so loved. There's nothing wrong with the world. And I'm like, again, I don't have eyes, but I can see light and how things. And there is just a big glow coming from my peripheral here, and I look over, and this we can call it an entity. It's how he showed himself to me. It's what I needed at the time, and I think that people that go through out of body experiences are shown what they need to see at the
Right.
time, but it's all God. Because when I looked over, did you ever see the movie Cocoon? It was about the
Yeah.
elderly people that
Yeah.
found those eggs in their pool. Do you remember when the cocoon opens, what came out of them? It was kind of like that. It's definitely humanoid shape, but that's what it's showing. It's definitely all light, somewhat featureless, yet it had features. And also, I would combine that with an Alex Gray painting. If you know that artist that's got the very detailed,
It's a realist. Yeah.
symmetrical, but there's light radiating off it in such a way. Alex Gray has been on the other side. There's no question because he saw what I saw.
Wow.
It's a similar of both. That's the only way I could explain it. You could see its energies moving around and radiating at the same time, and it's communicating to you. So the first thing that I really remember was just like I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me like this, and I'm like, it knows you. It was looking at me as if you hadn't seen a friend and you just walked up behind him at a bar and tapped him on the shoulder. What's the first thing you're going to do? Ah, like, hey, that's how it felt. Like, he's just like, what's up, buddy? I'm just like, oh, I so know you. And I'm just like, I was kind of, when you're in that presence, you have questions, but you don't want to offend him. But the first thing I just innocently asked him, like, are you God? And he's like, what are you dumb? Like, yeah. And he even has a sense of humor because he goes, well, yeah, most of the time. And I kind of looked at him like, but I see like Jesus is light in you too. He goes, yeah, him sometimes. But I'm like, I see Buddha in you. And he went with that little Buddha smile and just showed me that little like, and like did a jovial kind of jiggly laugh as if he's that
The happy Buddha.
happy
Yeah.
humor. Oh my! And it was just that emotion of the happiness and the joy and the liveliness and the humor all came out in just one, and it was love. And I'm like, wow! But I'm like, I see like wisdom of time and Krishna. And the second I thought the word Krishna, I'm telling you, he showed me his blue self and kind of did the arm thing. I can't remember like the position that, but and showed like the crown, the crown that you usually see that Krishna is wearing, and it just dawned on me in that millisecond, like, wait, that explains it. That's why I'm an omnist. You are the thing that we're all praying to. It doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter what language it comes in. That's without all that language, you feel that. That is it. That is it. That's God. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It completely clicked like right then and there. And mind you, we're communicating, but there's no mouth. I have no ears. There's a a, a, a message. I want to say telepathically, but you have no brain to receive it with. So I don't know what that is, but there's a communication happening here. It's vibration, but yet it translates in English because that's what I speak. But I was just kind of amazed, like, hey man, now that we're friends, like, and I recognize you, he's like, you're remembering quickly. And I'm like, oh, and then he said, this time.
This
And then
time.
well, yeah, you're remembering quickly this time. You've been here before many times after deaths, in between deaths, near deaths that I've had. And that made complete sense to me in that moment. Like, like, okay, dawned on me. And I'm just like, well, I didn't finish my mission. I'm real sorry. Like, when I get back in my body, I need to know what I need to do because it's not clear. I've been asking, and in the real world before my stroke, being a spiritual person, you want to know what your mission is. You want to know what you're supposed to be doing here,
But you felt like you were supposed to go back at that point. Because you said, I need to know what to do when I get back into my body. So at that point, were you feeling like, okay, this isn't over?
I'll put it this way. I didn't give him a choice. Some people ask if they should go back. Some people like, what do I need? Blah, blah. I'm like, so when I get back, I didn't even question it. That was exactly how it started. When I get back in my body, what do I need to do to stay alive? And as soon as I asked, like, I don't know if you've been in a position like where you're meditating maybe, or just you finally feel overcome to just kind of surrender to it. I could feel like my just soul and thoughts and questions and communication was happening to where when I said, what do I need to do when I get back in my body? And I've written this down in the written version of this story, but it was just aspirin, water, and citrus peels. And it was like peels. Okay, what do I need to do after that? As far as maintaining and making my body better, just different words that I didn't even know, moringa seeds and sea moss, and you need to try intermittent fasting. I had heard of that, but I never considered it doing. You need to go keto for a few months. You need to fast more. You need to do cleanses. And like, I'm like, okay, after that, just so much data and information is coming into your brain at that point in time when you're talking to God. It's almost too much for you to handle, but we're also limited to physically what the brains can handle. When you're outside of, I was soul. Your soul, I think, can take megabytes. So as I say, I'm just downloading information, and I know this sounds weird, but when I've meditate, have you guys ever said, like, if in your own brain, I don't know if people think like me, but if you ever had the chance to meet God, what would you ask him?
Sure.
Doesn't, I think most people might have that conversation in
I
their own head.
I've played that game before.
Well, in 43 years at the time, I had developed a book of questions. And I pretty much just threw it in his lap, but I didn't expect for it to all just go shloop in such a fast pace. But while that was happening, I still remember, like, oh, wait, there's more. Now that I was having all these remembrances, I knew that there was more here on this side. And what was strange is as soon as I thought of it, I remember like a note or a sound, but yet a frequency. And all I can say is I became one with that frequency. I thought of that frequency. I knew it. And it went like a very high all the way there. As soon as I got to the E in my brain, and as a matter of fact, I actually made a little graphic that kind of sort of is what I saw. I was in space looking at the Earth, and I could hear things. And once you really tuned into it, this is going to get a little weird, but I heard an old man, and I think her name was Martha, but he's like, Martha, where did you go? Where did you go? All I remember is we were driving in the lights of the truck, and you could feel it when it dawned on him when he realized that he's in the in-between.
Oh.
But I
Yeah.
could feel him saying it. I could hear him saying it like telepathically. Like I'm looking down, seeing, and I'm like, wait, look at all these other balls of light. Like I'm trying to show on Earth. Like, and there was another one, and there was a little girl, mommy, I was swimming in the swamp and my foot got stuck in the mud. Where are you? It's so dark and it's so cold here. And there was so many more. And like that, I can remember he was like a Midwestern teenage boy, couldn't be but 17-ish. He's like, maybe I shouldn't have taken all those pills. My mom's gonna miss me, but I couldn't take the pain anymore. I'm just giving you individual ones. Those are the ones that I can remember. There was hundreds of thousands of them, all in this in between or had just passed or. But it's like, oh, why do I know how to be here? Like I've done this. I was one of the people that, and I look, and son of a gun, I feel like if you know how the feeling you get if you go to work every day and you go sit at your desk, you're
Yeah.
familiar with that place. You sit there every day, you're familiar with that place.
Okay.
When I'm here, I looked up and I felt like, hey Bob, hey Mary, you know, I'm here like, wait, oh, and it all hit me like, oh yeah, this literally was where I used to work. I know this. This is how did I know that frequency right now? And I kind of looked up at them again, and one of them looked at me, just was like, hey. And I'm like, I felt like I was like walking through like a closed, abandoned mall or something, and I'm not supposed to be here, and the security guards just found me. But I looked and I'm just like, like, hi. And one of them just goes like this and started nudging the other one. And he goes, look, it's him. They're like, how'd you get up here, buddy? And I'm like, I just remembered. I don't know. Like, am I okay? They're like, yeah. Wait a minute. They're like, you knew this was going to happen. I'm like, huh? And one of them basically was like, wait, you gave me something to give you. You gave me something in case this happened to give to you, just in case. And they were both puzzled, like, how did you know this was going to happen, that you'd be here?
Quick question. So when that spirit that was, you were saying it was in between life and death,
The
or
me?
in between life and ethereal, the spirit that looked up and said, look, it's him. So you're saying that they recognized you.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It was literally like coming to work and they're just like, hey, we haven't seen you in a few years.
Okay.
And you just sat at your desk.
Yeah.
Like literally. And I remember I kind of poofed and came back and had this about bigger than a bowling ball size red, black, sparkly, glowing literal ball that looked sealed. I was like, here, you gave us this to give to you in case this happened, and kind of carrying it. It had some weight, but there was some distance between us. I'd say easily 200 feet, it felt like. And it threw it at me. And in that moment, I caught it, but yet I don't have arms to catch it. I felt as if I had flinched to catch it, but yet, and son of a gun, guys, if in that moment my eyes actually opened in the real world and the orderly that picked me up off the gurney that I pointed at is rubbing on my chest, on my sternum, and I just, he's like, hey, you're awake. Good, good. He's like, so yeah, you just had a stroke. He's like, do you know your name? And I said my name plainly and clearly. And he's like, oh, good, you can talk. He's like, do you know where you are? I'm like, I better be in a flipping hospital. I feel like crap, you know? And the energy that I felt on the other side, that freedom, that open, if you've ever been astral, you'll understand that. I still felt that hum. Is the only way to explain the hum is just a vibration on you, in you, around you, near you, everywhere. And he says, well, good news and bad news. You just had a ischemic and hemorrhagic stroke. The bad news is we broke up the clot and now there's 3 more clots traveling through your body. And this is the juice to knock you out for the next 8 to 12 hours. And we're going to knock you out and you're about to have open heart surgery. They're prepping the OR right now. Now, I remember saying like telepathically, it was a little different this time because I heard the voice and I know my mouth was moving, but I wasn't the one saying it. I didn't even, you have to think to do things, but I didn't tell my arm to grab this guy's arm. My arm grabbed this guy's arm, if I could say it that way. Just as he's got his thumb on the plunger to knock me out. I said, no, we're not having any surgery today. Take me to a private room. I know what I need to do. I need citrus, I need aspirin, and I need water now. And if you've ever been around like a balloon that's been rubbed on somebody's head, every hair on that man's body stood up on edge. His pupils dilated and he started shaking. He let go of the plunger. He pulled it out. He says, I believe you. Let me take you to a private room. I'll go get you aspirin, water, and some citrus peels immediately. But you're going to have to sign some paperwork for responsibility release. Said, done. Take me to that room. So he wheeled me in. The OR doctor that was about to do heart surgeries, already been cleaned or whatever. And he's like, are you crazy, sir? You're going to have a widowmaker in the next like 8 minutes. I was like, nah, I already know I'm going to be fine. Just as I said that, the orderly walked in with every grapefruit, lime, lemon, orange, and 4 tabs of aspirin and 2 pitchers of water. I started crushing those up while peeling the peeling the fruits, put the aspirins in the water, chugged about a third of one of those with the aspirin water. And I remembered the peels. So I started eating the peels. I was mushing it up in my mouth and swallowing it. And it's really tart, drinking the aspirin water. And I got to the grapefruit and I'm peeling all of them, just pieces of all of it, whatever one I need. I craved it with the core of my being, and I knew I had to get as much of it in my system as I possibly could in the shortest period of time. It's the only way to say it. So I'm washing it down like I was at a peel eating contest, okay? And son of a gun, they're like, sir, you've got like 2 minutes. We need you to get you prepped up. We should have cut you open already. I'm like, I didn't even speak to him. Just go about your business, And they had the heart monitors on me. And I remember, dee dee, dee dee, dee, and there was some sort of change. I don't think I flatlined right away, but definitely that changed. And they're like, oh, there it is right now. It's going to happen. And suddenly that same voice I've been telling you about said, cough now, cough hard, and don't stop coughing. So I was like, okay. They're like, you okay? I'm like, and I just kept doing it. After about the fourth cough, I felt a pop in whatever ventricle the blood's coming in. And then immediately it made a squish as if there was like some gelatinous, who knows what. I kept coughing, and they're panicking. They're prepping up the paddles. And I'm just laughing and I'm just like, relax, I'll be all right. And I kept coughing, chugged a little more water because my mouth was getting dry, shoved some more peels in my mouth, coughed a couple more times, and then I felt the squish and the pop. I just passed that clot through my heart, and that heart monitor went dee dee. I went from dee 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 dee, and all of them just stood there for a good 2 minutes, just kind of looking at me. And I just sat up. I'm smiling. I'm like, I just had a heart attack. Like, I'm fine. But I was listening to what God was telling me. That got me through it. And then from that point on, I fasted. I did a clay cleanse. I did like 3 back-to-back parasite cleanses. I limited myself to fruit and some meats and some vegetables. I changed my diet completely based off of the downloads that I got. And
Yeah.
I'm 160 pounds right now. I'm actually 158 today. I lost all that weight. I got rid of the parasites. I cleansed myself. I knew I had to purify. And since then, now that there's been so much cleansing going on, I can tell my attitude, my behavior, my outlook, my positivity, my actual energy, my memory, all of it. So many things have changed. On top of that, I don't want to freak people out, but I'm just noticing other things as well, spiritually. So that's where I'm at today.
Wow. What a
Wow.
story. I'm just like,
Yeah.
whoa. I have to sit here for a couple of minutes to just sort of assimilate.
I have a
Take it.
question.
That's
Do
the short version.
you still get advice from these? I suspect they're angels, but I'm not sure. These beings from the other side, do they still make contact with you? Or do you just feel what's going on with your body now and just know what to do? Like, how did that integrate into your life today?
Well, I could put, the precursors part 1, when it happens part 2. Um, After I got out would be part 3. So I'm kind of in part 4 of this book of life. Okay. Um, I've I don't want to say urges because that sounds creepy, but I've had different urges to do things that I normally wouldn't have done prior. For example, just the other day, uh, so I do deliveries on the side just for extra cash, and I was at a farmer's market type situation getting feed bags and bird seed and deer feed and all that. And just something kind of came over me to where like, all right, turn around. I was just standing in line. Turn around and just walk up the aisle and see what's over there. And son of a gun, divine timing is the only way to say it. I turn the corner, and there's this elderly couple, like literally 85-ish, maybe 90, kind of frail. I could tell what he had. Oh, he had recently given blood because he had like a band in the gauze. And I just walked right up to him. He's trying to pick up big old bags of feed and bird seeds and whatnot. I'm like, sir, let me get that for you. Just as I went to reach for the bag he was reaching for, he let go of the other one fully and cut his hand open.
Oh,
And it wasn't a horrible cut, but enough, in the seams of the hand. And all of a sudden, like, oh, you got a first aid kit in the car. I didn't even hesitate. I ran. I ran to my car. I grabbed the first aid kit. As I'm coming in, I'm already opening gauze and I have a band on. And I come back and people are panicking. He's bleeding. He's bleeding. What do we do? What do we do? And I just walked right up. I got you, boss. Wipe it off, the band on it, and then just proceeded to put his food on the cart. How many more of these you need? And they're just looking at me like, where did this guy come from?
So those same voices happen to you again to tell that they tell you the same voice you heard prior?
I would say less voice, more feeling.
Just a cognizance. You
I
just
call them
knew.
I call them pushes and pulls. When something's in the negative, it repels me. And when I know that I'm supposed to do something, I recognize that feeling now, as opposed to it saying like, hey, go help some old man around the corner. I just knew, hey, something needs help around the corner. I don't know why, but I'm feeling the pull. So I did, and loaded their stuff, pulled their cart over, loaded it into their vehicle for them. And, there's people in the store still poking their head out like, who is this weirdo? Um, I guess one part that I'd like to back up to, that's just one of many of these inklings that have been happening. Um, I went through some financial difficulty after my divorce, and I was recently in a position where I didn't know what to do anymore. And I literally one day fell to my knees, full submission to God, and just said, show me what I need to do, because whatever I'm doing, it doesn't feel like it's going that well. And son of a gun, I was like, okay, that was it. I felt something, the vibration. It's like back in tune with kind of what I felt in my OBE, right? 3 days later, I looked up a ministry that was in the realm of my scope, and it's called, I'm not trying to promote them necessarily, but Universal Life Church was the first omnis type church that I found. I applied to be a minister, became a minister, literally gave myself back over to God. And I don't want to go with full churchy on you, but that higher power that we're all praying to, the thing that I met, I completely 100% want to embody. The jovialness, the kindness, the courteousness, the love, that feeling that I felt, I know that I have to give to others. And I might not be doing the greatest financially, but I know that if I'm doing that, I'd rather die, if you want to call it a successful man, I'd rather die a good man.
I have a question. So kind of back to this, what may be intuition, what may be pushes and pulls, what you're saying, calling
Yeah.
it. When you went to the other side of the veil, when you were passed out in that hospital, and you met those beings that like threw that like what a red ball at you, or kind of is what you called it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you recognized them, like you
Mm-hmm.
felt this familiarity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel as though you were one of them? And if you do feel as though you were one of them or worked with them, do you think that you're remembering that now? And these pushes and pulls, maybe that aspect coming through it as Bryon?
The veil has thinned very much this year. So yeah. Um, I was doing Uber and Lyft for a little while, and it got to the point literally where somebody would get in the car and I'd be like, fighting with the wife again, huh? And they'd be like, how do you know that? I'm like, yeah, you need to take out the garbage and do dishes, I bet. He's like, that's exactly what she just said.
Oh,
And I'm going to the bar now because I can't deal with her BS. And I'm like, maybe it's time to work on communication, man. I mean, time to man up and do a couple things. Running to the bar is only going to complicate things. And, you know, what's the harm in taking 5 minutes to do dishes, show her how it's done, put them away? I mean, think of all the things she does for you. My mouth was just open. It was that feeling again where I'm not really saying it. Does that make sense? It's
Yeah.
just coming out of me. And I've got my phone mounted on the dashboard and it goes ching ding. Says your destination has changed. It's like, you're 100% right, man. Can you take me back home? I need to go talk to my wife and we need to start communicating better. And that's just one ride. This just keeps happening and I'm okay with it. I've had people spill out their guts to me for no reason, but felt comfortable to do it. And I'm okay. I like to say that I know that I'm transmuting now. I don't know, maybe all the crazy stuff I went through as a youngster growing up and whatnot, I just kind of learned to do that. And it just becomes second nature now. I'm okay with it, but I know that like I'm able to take negative and just do something with it, transmute it, and let people let go of it.
So
And
what
I
was
want to
that?
keep doing that.
What was that red thing they threw at you? They threw to you.
I'm still trying to figure that out, to be honest, but I just noticed that like spiritually, when people like this drains me or that's dragging me down or this is whatever, it's part of what's helping me transmute the energy in some way to where most people that are light workers and things of that nature, sorry for the woo woo term, um they get drained easy. And I know when I say like I feel like it was like a battery in a way to where I know I'm just radiating. Things don't really affect me in such a negative way. I mean, I can see how it can be done as negative, but I also see enough light to where you could turn that around in a blink of an eye. You know, like why focus on that? Just release and let it go. It's not really that important. There's so like why waste your time being negative? You're only on the earth for so long, you know? Why waste any time being negative any way, shape, or form? It's just why? That's a waste of life. So to be able to kind of help people see that and turn it around and you know, with all my experiences, it just sometimes I know kind of what they need. What would have I wanted said to me had I been in their position? Um, and I just know what to say sometimes. That's the only way I can really explain it. You guys ever heard of the law of one?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
some people like see it as a theory or it's just become my vantage point at this point, if that makes sense.
Well, I think that it's so interesting that ball of source energy or whatever it was that was given to you because you really gave it to yourself, didn't you?
That's
Because
the whole thing that
you
freaks
told
me out.
them and so um it's like that whole circle thing, you know? And now you're doling it out like a and I don't want to weird you out, but like it sounds like an earth angel kind of thing.
I know that I
Do you
chose
un
this. I know I chose to go through those things. I look back and I can see that there's things that occurred for certain reasons and that I've met people along the way that changed my perceptions in profound ways. And up and you know, if you were to take like a timeline, I'm going to do this to you. This is the left side of my screen, right?
Yes. Well, left side of your
That's your
body.
that's your right side, but
Okay. So this is birth, right? And this is the end of that lifetime. And in this time, like here's your, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years old. I've noticed these spikes in spirit have changed so much when I traveled, when I did these things. But now it's these synchronicities are all the way on my timeline happening right now. And the energy is increased. I'm seeing other people are awakening at the same time. And there's just like this culminational feeling of like, what are we about to step into? Does that make sense? Like people are feeling
Mhm.
a calling Other people are like, hey, I need to lose weight. I need to do health things. I need to clean my system out. And it's like, oh, I've been through that. Let me help you with that. You know, oh, hey, I wanted to give myself to God, but I don't really, I don't, hey, I've actually done that. Let me help you with that. All these things that are happening in my life. One more thing that I'd like to touch on that was part of this timeline increase is when I gave myself to God and like recognized it and just said, hey, I'm yours. Let me be a vessel, whatever you want. Just make it clear to me. Things changed for me profoundly since then. I mentioned that when I turned 18, I found out my man that raised me wasn't my real father. I've been looking for my real father for a long, long time. 3 days after I got my ordainment, I got a weird message. It popped up on my phone while I was driving. It says, you have a match. Now, I've been celibate for a few years. I'm not really on the dating sites. And so I didn't, what a match to what? I'm not paying for any service. It's probably spam, but I clicked it anyway. And come to find out, it was on ancestry.com. I had filled out one of those 12, 15 years ago and did the swab.
Yeah.
I had a 15% match. And I messaged this kid, like, that's the highest match I've seen yet outside of my mom's side of the family. And he's like, that's kind of weird. I asked him, like, do you know this last name? And he says, let me call you back, or let me message you back. And he didn't message me the next day. And he said, I just talked to my dad. He's supposed to have that same last name. He's a little older than you, but I think he's your brother. Here's his number. I called him. We had an hour-long conversation. I found out I have a 35-year-old brother. I have a 32-year-old sister. I have like 8 uncles, 3 aunts, a slew of cousins, nieces, and nephews all over the place. And in fact, where I was raised, I grew up with them all around me and didn't even know.
Oh, wow.
So I felt like once I gave something over, come on, 3 days later, a synchronicity or something like that, just to kind of fall into place. All these questions that I had about that side of the family, by the 4th of July this year, I was at a family reunion meeting all these people. I've needed that. It filled in a huge crater gap in my life. And now more and more are coming all along. One of my uncles, which I hope you guys get a chance to interview, Tim E. Zimmerman, sorry to plug you, but I felt like I had to. He already has had this very interesting, mind-blowing system to where he's been in Egypt. He knows Sufis. He knows Buddhists. He's actually done a lot of the spiritual work. He's created programs. And we never knew about each other until quite a few, was it in May, June? Yeah, May, June. And we're talking about like all these things that I've been involved in on my end and that he's been learning on his end, and that he's actually got these really interesting programs for like self-betterment, mind reprogramming, letting your soul flow, things of that nature. And I've been actually applying those, and it's only been, a very short period of time. And then most recently, I was kind of going through a thing. I need to do more spiritually. Added a friend on Facebook out of random. I was in another spiritual group where she had commented on one of my posts, and she seemed interesting. So I clicked her, and then we made friends real quick. And come to find out, she's a spiritual medicine integrator / shaman, and invited me to come a week and a half ago to her retreat and experience that.
Is this who we met on the phone?
Yes. Yeah, I was right. And I had just finished my 3rd session when we called you guys, because I knew that it would be good for the show for sure. But like, these teachers are showing up. I don't want to say necessarily masters, but I will say that I planned this.
Yeah.
You know?
So you've been like synchronicities happen when you're aligning with certain frequencies. And so that's what you've been doing. And so how has your list for God changed with all of this knowledge and energy and frequency change in your life since your stroke? you've just been like on this trip, this journey of mastering yourself. So how have you? What questions do you have now? What's the difference?
I've learned that I've learned to just be. I keep being reassured that I'm already doing it. Um, but at the same time, there's just such a yearning that I know I need to do much more to continue this path, to wake more people up, to I know there's a lot of other spiritual warriors out there kind of going through a thing, feeling a thing, or whatever the case is, but I actually was considering building like a program. All the health things that I've done, once you clear your mind and your body, then more things come. The meditations and the brain affirming and letting go of fear and letting go of shame and guilt and just ripping the roots out of that so that you can fully open up. Now, when your mind is clear, you're able to receive more of the messages. You're making a sacrifice. Fasting, I'm not talking about sacrificing lambs. I'm talking about you're just making a personal sacrifice
Yeah.
to let go of actually some of the sins. What's the one when you eat too much? I forget.
Gluttony.
Oh, gluttony.
Gluttony. I was a glutton. I was a big guy. I was eating garbage. But once you kind of let go of those habits and realize like you're eating out of some shame or guilt or trauma or whatever you've had in your life, you open up something new inside yourself.
Yeah.
And then, I started a little workout program that I consistently do because I'm in the car driving all the time. So I felt like, oh yeah, we'll show people how to get physically fit, little things that you can do and add to your life to keep your body always in a good flow. And then it comes down to nutrition, all the things that have life force energy inside them we should be eating. If a man made it in a factory, it comes in a bag or a can or a cup that's dried and reprocessed and from concentrate, why do you think you have health problems? Your body's not meant to ingest those things. Every one of those things has another, whether it's a different organ, your skin, your mind, for sure, blue dye, red dye, yellow dye. And people wonder why their kids are hyperactive and can never calm down and focus. Then we're being riddled with different poisons. It's in the water. Actually, when I was in the in-between, there was a point where one of the entities went to go get that ball I mentioned, and the first entity that recognized me was like, "So how's it going down there?" And I even said to him, like, "Man, you wouldn't believe it. They're polluting the water. They're polluting their food. They're feeding us these chemicals. They're just ruining it down there." Like, you will relax. We know, we know, we know. And I'm like, you need to send help. You need to send more help. And that was the point where they had said, you need to start waking some of these people up. There are other warriors looking for you, man. Show them, and I know that's a big part of it. I just am finding my way now at 50 years old. Sorry, I'm late to the party, guys, but this is what I'm here to do. And I've made amends with that. I don't want to be shy about it anymore. I know I have to let out my throat chakra and I have to let this out. It's part of my thing. And just kind of now just figuring it out, like, oh, like, ta-da, here I am. Like, now let me figure it out. What do I need to do to help and get this on a broader level and wake other people up so that they can help and get them cleared out and release their garbage so that we can raise the vibration of the planet. That's the whole goal. That's it. When we do that, there's no stopping us. And I think, to be honest with you, if you believe in evil or if you believe in Satan or Lucifer, whatever you want to call it, demons and that and the other, I think they're going to run scared in the next year.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to give up and say, all right, good one. That's it.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I feel that that's the new thing. That's what's coming. And I know I have to be a part of that. Can't explain it any other way.
So are you, not only were you told that this is your part, you feel it. And so are the warriors coming to you, or are you actively trying to seek them out? How is it working for you? I mean, I know you're having all these synchronicities and you're feeling it. you know, you're really feeling it, and you're helping all these people, and it feels good, which helps to promote these feelings of this is right. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So are they coming to you? Is this also a synchronicity yet?
I've had a few that recognized my energy. Um, I'm too real for a lot of people that I would say are still asleep or stuck in the negative. But those that are seeking, yearning, asking, or even beyond that, already doing it or similar things, those are the people that recognize what I'm trying to do. Now, mind you, this has just only happened in like the last 60 days as far as me realizing and working through this after giving
Oh,
myself over. So the ceremony that I did with that medicine woman put me right back on track. But yet
good.
I think that was literally the first thing out of my mouth was there's so much that needs to be done, and I have to be very, very, very careful of my energy. Because I realize like if I get out of tune, if I'm mad or upset, I'm still radiating. And if I'm radiating negativity, that's gonna affect other people. And I have to be very careful of that. But then it makes you think like, wow, wait till other people understand that they have that same capability. And that's what they're currently doing. They just don't realize it yet. And when you find that centered point and you've cleansed your body and you're comfortable in your own skin, and then you start opening yourself up to love, light, and things of that nature, and just letting go of the toxic buildup of emotion and suppression and get that out of your body. If 100,000 people do that, if a
Mhm.
million people do that, when 20 million people do that, 100 million people do that, it's just going to keep growing. People are going to be like, oh, this is the way. That's all that makes sense anymore. Here we are
Yeah.
stuck with all this negative bombardments that we're not only poisoned by our food, but our minds, like all this clutter on social media and the negativity that we think we need to be in there. Or God forbid you turn on the news and listen to any of that, or the programming that's in movies these days, all these negative images. Like, I turned off my TV. I'm done. The only thing that goes on my TV is like different frequencies that I enjoy for when I'm laying down and just chilling and sleeping. And I've tried all the whole spectrums, the 528 hertz, and the solfeggio frequencies and the
Yep.
369s. And those I've gotten to the point where I put a speaker and surround sound under my bed, around my bed, so that when I sleep, I can just be in those different tones. And I've started waking up so happy, like
Good.
nothing's gonna phase you. I hope more people take that to heart, because frequency, sound, light, all those are very meaningful in this process as far as us coming up. And I hope people start listening to like cleaner type music. If anything, I mean, I used to be a heavy metal guy. I've been to hard rock concerts and stuff. I like the adrenaline that it gave me because that's what I had going through me. But I've let go of that. I don't have angst. I don't have anger. I don't have that. So, no offense to heavy metal and stuff, but it's just really not my thing anymore. I have to
Right.
listen to.
It doesn't work for you anymore. And I think we have to be careful because as teachers and as angels that come as messengers to this earth, we have to always make sure that we are carrying that understanding that we need to meet people where they are. So, in order to do that, you have to not judge them. And for example, say, this person is really into heavy metal. How can I take that and help them? See what I'm saying? So, we've known for many, many years now that we are switching from third dimension to fifth dimension, and everything you're talking about, that's what we're seeing now. And that's the reason that Jennifer and I have this show, is to allow as many people to come on our show to say, like you, Bryon, there are holistic and naturopathic ways for you to heal your body. And God is within all of us, and we are one. So if you listen, you'll hear what it is you need to hear.
Oh, there's definitely a calling. Like, I've had a calling as far as like I've always felt like I needed to be doing something spiritual, but it just got really clear to me right now. But I know there's so many other people that are something's changing. The urge to eat better, the urge to cleanse, the urge to do things to be nicer, to help people. I know there's so many people out there that are feeling it, but yet they're just not quite sure what this is.
Right.
And that I know people like us, and you're doing this podcast, which is a great move to kind of get out to other people. It's something that I've actually considered doing recently too. Not to steal any thunder,
Good. No, the more the merrier.
but I thought it'd be a good start to do something like that, so
Sure.
that I can reach out to more people, so that I
Yeah.
can show them, hey, this is what I've done, my guys. It works, and especially people that have known me throughout my life. They saw when I wasn't doing the greatest, but to pull from those dark trenches into who I'm becoming or who I am now, that was boundless leaps and shifts and timeline shifts. Even if I could say highest timeline, I'm not quite there, but I definitely went from down here somewhere to up here somewhere recently. And other people are starting to see that they want to do that too. And I'm happy to guide anybody who's just trying to improve themselves in any way, shape, or form. It's all part of it. But there's
What
a
would you
huge calling, huge
what would you
calling.
say to those people? Like if you could just make a blanket statement to people who are just kind of like, "Oh my God, here I am and I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea how to do it." How would you encourage them?
Again, I'd say start from the inside in a couple of ways. Release and let go of the things that are holding you back and recognize your patterns and behavior and negativity. That's one. Number two is, in order to do that, cleanse your body as far as what you're putting in it. Your body is your temple, and you have to treat it better. Um, get as pure as you can. Go with whole foods. Go lay off of dairy and sugars and sodas. And man, I used to smoke 4 packs a day when I was a painter in my 20s. I quit smoking. I hit this stupid vape thing once in a while, but at least nothing's burning and it's only 3 ingredients. I'm okay. My soul's made peace with that. And for those that poop on nicotine, there's nicotine in tomatoes. So, nah. Anyway, just purifying yourself is important. I said before sacrifices. I didn't mean sacrificing a lamb. I meant make sacrifices. Show God you're serious. Uh, I have a close friend who recently got baptized, but still continues to drink every day. And it's one thing to lay in the water and say, I give myself to you. But when you go home and you're behind closed doors, are you still continuing the behavior?
Right.
There's a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you continue those habits, you're not fully raising in public. Oh yeah, I'm but when nobody's looking, how do you behave? You know, are you still on the computer looking at things that are inappropriate, right? And getting too hardcore into that. That's something that you might want to just stop doing for a little while. I got kind of fed up with women after my divorce, dated for a little while, and I just decided to be celibate. Not out of a shame or against women or anything, but I needed that space. I needed the clarity. I needed no distractions, and I wanted to build myself again. So then when I do, let that go again, I'll be what she needs me to be, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That's good. And that obviously works really well for you. You've come to a realization. I think we all have facets of ourselves, and regarding the picture that you have behind you, it's really interesting because I sort of experienced something similar to this when Jennifer did a session on me, introspective hypnosis session the other day. Those people that are behind you, or I keep calling them people, I mean to be calling them spirits or entities.
Definitely souls that were just
You said that they
scared
gave
and
you
in
something
between.
that was red. First of all, one of them said, he's here, there he is. And then they took something that was red and
They
they gave
totally
it to you.
recognized me. They gave me something that I had left behind in that, like, imagine if you were in a spiritual office. These are my coworkers. I left something, a year ago in the janitor closet there and said, I'm going to be back for this someday. Make sure you don't forget this and give it to me when you next see me. That's exactly
Right.
the scene that I see now that I laid out for myself.
And what I'm getting from that I started to say, Bryon, those are all facets of you. You recognized your facets and your facets recognized you. And that's exactly what happened the other day when we were having that session. My mother, who has crossed over, came to me, and very clearly, I understood that the individual that she was here on earth, that mother that I knew, was not really and truly that person, that was not really and truly that spirit. That spirit that was my mother here at this point in time had thousands and thousands of other facets to her, which then made me understand that's the way that we need to look at ourselves. We have thousands and thousands of facets to ourselves. So this has been just an absolutely tremendous show. I always, when shows are this great, I really hate to cut us off, but will you come back again?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
And we should do a part 2, because I feel like your life is changing daily. Your soul is raising daily. And Bryon, you are, I really do believe, an angelic messenger that has come here that's helping to raise the vibration. And that is so needed right now. Everything you said is spot on. And I loved your story. Loved your story.
Thank you. I'm happy to share it with others. It's all part of it, you know?
Right. Absolutely. So go ahead, Jen.
I was just going to say, it reminds me of like the Star Wars movies or the Rocky movies. There's just another one. There's just another one. And then there's one after that. I think that's your life coming up here.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like if I talk to you in a week from now, you'd be a completely different person. Like, wait, what happened to Bryon?
we shall see. If anything, I just gained some confirmation that I think I need to keep getting my voice out, and I think this podcasting's got to happen, because that's actually, the surrender when you're in meditation and you're letting go and just show me what I need to know. That keeps popping up. So,
how can people get in touch with you if they need to?
I've got horrible spelling of my last name. It's a curse since kindergarten. But yeah, I don't know if digitally you can put my name down in there, but
sure.
I'm an open profile on Facebook is mainly where I check the most.
Okay.
But Bryon, Bryan, and then the last name is Duszczak. Been a curse since kindergarten.
So you want me to put then your Facebook address?
Yeah, I don't mind
then?
if people want to find me. I'm an open book, you know.
Well, I think the other thing is finding other people that have a story to share with your story, is very cool.
Yeah, and you have that written out also, your story.
Yes.
That's really lots and lots of details, and it's
amazing.
It's very amazing. It's an amazing story, and you can just feel it's so heartfelt, and it's really well done, Bryon. I really loved reading your story.
Really, I really appreciate
I was there.
I'm kind of self-conscious about it. It was, you're laying it all out on the table, and there are some details that I left out, but my 20s to 30s and stuff. But to be able to put that out there and get a good response, like, hey, that makes sense. And like I said earlier, people that are on my wavelength will get that. And I can tell you a few times you just kind of closed your eyes and kind of sat back and just felt me. So I know you see me and I know you feel me, and I appreciate that.
I do.
And there are people that may not get the whole story, but they'll get snippets.
Yeah, if anybody wants to see that story, on Facebook, if you look up groups, it's Doozies, DOOZIE', and then the word quest after that. My nickname's been Doozy since like high school. So
I love that name. That's great. I love Doozy. Well, Bryon, I can't thank you enough for joining us here and telling your story. It just means the world to Jennifer and to me. And all of our listeners and viewers out there, thanks for tuning in to Souls on Tap. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll never miss a drop of wisdom. We'd love for you to share any thoughts that you have and add any type of healing modalities you'd like us to showcase, because remember, we are here for you. If you have had near-death experiences, we'd love for you to put those in the comments down below. We'd love to hear your stories.
Yes.
So until next time, stay curious and stay connected, and we'll see you on Souls on Tap.
Bye, everybody.